Utah hides secrets darker than you can imagine, and tonight, we're unlocking them all. Behind its quiet deserts, ancient mountains, and peaceful towns lies a world most people never see, a world of restless spirits, tragic pasts, and places where time itself seems to stop. From forgotten cemeteries and cursed mansions to haunted hospitals that still echo with screams. Each site tells a story soaked in fear and mystery. So turn down the lights, take a deep breath, and join us as we uncover the top 15 haunted places in Utah. One, McCune Mansion, Salt Lake City. Perched on a hill overlooking downtown Salt Lake City, the McCune Mansion gleams with the elegance of a bygone era, but when the sun sets, that elegance turns unsettling. Locals whisper that the grand staircase echoes with footsteps when no one is there. Guests have reported hearing faint piano music drifting from the empty ballroom, as if a long-dead hostess were entertaining invisible guests. Some even claim to see a woman in white standing at the top of the stairs, her expression sorrowful, her presence icy. Built in 1901 by railroad tycoon Alfred McCune, the mansion was meant to be a monument to wealth and power. Yet, beneath the polished wood and stained glass, something darker lingers. Staff members have quit after hearing whispers calling their names from behind locked doors. Security cameras flicker just before cold spots appear in the halls. A portrait in the main parlor is said to watch those who linger too long, its eyes shifting ever so slightly when the room falls silent. Some say it's the spirit of Mrs. McCune, still guarding her home. Others believe it's something older, something that fed on the envy, greed, and ambition that built the mansion itself. Paranormal investigators have recorded unexplained EMF spikes, shadowy figures, and sudden temperature drops. Yet no one has ever captured the full truth. So if you ever visit the McCune Mansion, linger a little after midnight. Listen closely when the wind passes through the halls. Perhaps you'll hear the faint melody of that phantom piano or feel a cold hand brush against yours, reminding you that some homes never truly let their guests leave. Tucumn Devereaux Mansion, Salt Lake City. At first glance, the Devereaux Mansion looks like a relic of Victorian charm. Its wrought iron gates, ornate gables, and manicured gardens whispering of old wealth and refined beauty. But when darkness falls over Salt Lake City, those whispers turn into something far more sinister. Locals say the mansion never truly sleeps. Windows flicker with candlelight, though no one is inside, and the faint laughter of children can sometimes be heard echoing from the empty halls. Built in the mid-1800s, the mansion was once the grandest home in the Utah Territory, a place for lavish banquets and political gatherings. But beneath the glittering chandeliers, tragedy struck. A young girl reportedly fell to her death on the grand staircase. Servants claimed her spirit never left, her soft giggle still drifting through the corridors late at night. Some guests have even seen her, a translucent figure in a pale blue dress, gliding silently past the parlor door. Then there's the lady in black, a dark, mournful apparition who appears in the upper windows, watching the street below. No one knows who she is. Some say she's the grieving mother of the lost child. Others whisper she's a woman wronged, a betrayed soul seeking justice in death. Paranormal teams have documented cold spots, flickering lights, and disembodied voices calling out from the basement. Today, the Devereaux Mansion stands beautifully restored, yet the air inside feels heavy, as if the past refuses to release its grip. So when you pass by after dusk, take a moment to look toward the windows. If you're unlucky, you might just see a faint hand pressed against the glass, waiting for someone to finally notice. 3. Old Tuel Hospital. Tuel, once a place of healing. The old Tuel Hospital now stands as one of Utah's most infamous haunted sites, its cracked walls echoing with memories of pain, madness, and death. Built in the late 1800s as a private home, it later became a hospital, then an asylum, and finally a nursing home. With each new chapter, more lives ended within its walls, and some say not all of them ever left. Visitors describe a suffocating heaviness as soon as they enter. The air feels colder, thicker, like the building itself is watching. In the dim light of the old operating room, people report hearing metallic clinks and faint screams, as though the past surgeries were still being performed. The sound of footsteps follows the living down empty corridors, and a shadowy figure in a long coat has been seen pacing near the morgue, believed to be the restless spirit of a former doctor who refused to stop his work. Even in death, on the upper floors, doors slam shut without warning. Disembodied voices murmur through the intercom system, though it's been disconnected for decades. Some visitors claim to see ghostly patients lying in long abandoned hospital beds, their hollow eyes pleading for help. Paranormal investigators have recorded chilling EVPs, and equipment batteries drain in seconds as if something unseen is feeding on their energy. Today, the old Tuel Hospital, now known as Asylum 49, welcomes the brave who dare to enter. But those who have walked its halls at night swear the building is alive, breathing, whispering, remembering. If you go, don't wander off alone, because in Tuel's haunted hospital, you might not be sure which footsteps are yours and which belong to someone who never left. 4. Mercure Cemetery, Tuel County. High in the desolate Oquirrh Mountains lies what remains of Mercure, a ghost town long forgotten, its riches buried beneath dust and sorrow. All that stands now is the Mercure Cemetery, a lonely patch of land where wind howls through dry grass and broken headstones. The air up there feels different, thinner, colder, as if every breath carries the weight of the town's tragic past. In the late 1800s, Mercure was a booming mining town, filled with promise and gold fever. But greed has its price. Fires swept through the settlement twice, reducing homes and lives to ash. Disease and accidents claimed miners deep underground. Their bodies never recovered. Locals say their spirits found their way to the cemetery anyway, restless, unburied, waiting. Visitors to Mercure Cemetery describe the eerie feeling of being watched. Even when completely alone, footsteps crunch on gravel behind them. But when they turn, no one is there. Cameras malfunction. Voices whisper faintly through the mountain wind. And some have seen ghostly lanterns flicker between the graves, as if miners still search for a way home. A few even speak of a pale woman who wanders near the edge of the hill, her form glowing faintly before vanishing into the fog. No birds sing here, no insects hum, only the sound of wind sliding between the old stones and the occasional echo of a name long forgotten. The Mercure Cemetery is more than a burial ground. It's a monument to lost ambition and unburied souls. So if you ever visit, tread carefully. The spirits of Mercure don't take kindly to strangers, and they've had over a century to remember who doesn't belong. Stupitho. Kay's Cross, Kaysville. Deep in the woods near Kaysville once stood a towering stone cross, ominous, cracked, and blackened by time. They called it Kay's Cross, and for decades it was the heart of Utah's most chilling legend. Locals whispered that at night, it pulsed with a strange blue light, as if something beneath it was alive. Some said it marked the grave of a cursed preacher. Others swore it was built by a cult, a place of ritual, betrayal, and death. No one knows the full truth of how Kay's Cross came to be. But what's certain is the fear it inspired. Teenagers dared each other to visit after dark, drawn by the thrill and the danger. Those who went spoke of screams echoing through the trees, shadows darting across the clearing, and a suffocating presence that made the air feel electric. A few even claimed to see a woman in a long white dress hovering near the base of the cross, her face hidden, her sobs piercing the silence. Then, in 1992, something strange happened. The cross exploded. No one saw who did it, but locals insist it wasn't destroyed by people. It destroyed itself. Since then, the ruins remain cursed ground. Visitors still report glowing orbs, phantom figures, and the feeling of invisible hands brushing against their skin. Even now, Kay's Cross draws the curious and the reckless. But those who've gone say the energy there doesn't welcome the living, it warns them. So if you ever stand where the cross once rose, and you feel the air grow still, don't look behind you. Because whatever haunts Kay's Cross might already be standing there, watching. Union Station, Ogden. Once a bustling gateway for travelers and soldiers, Ogden's Union Station now carries a different kind of traffic whispers, footsteps, and shadows from another time. Beneath its grand arches and vintage chandeliers, something lingers, as if the building itself remembers every tear, every farewell, every final goodbye that echoed through its halls. Built in 1924, the station saw both the joy of reunions and the heartbreak of departures. During the war years, it was filled with soldiers leaving for the front, some never to return. Many believe their spirits still walk the platforms, waiting for trains that will never come. Security guards have reported hearing bootsteps pacing the empty concourse at night, and the faint sound of a whistle echoing through the air. Though no train has passed for decades, visitors often speak of cold spots that move beside them, or the sudden scent of perfume drifting by, followed by the fleeting vision of a woman in 1940s attire, staring down the tracks. In the old museum rooms, objects sometimes shift on their own, and cameras catch strange mists forming in the corners where light shouldn't bend. They say the Union Station is a place where time folds in on itself, where echoes of the past refuse to fade. So if you ever find yourself there after dark, listen closely when the wind passes through the corridors. You might just hear the soft announcement of a train that no longer exists, and realize that some passengers are still waiting to board. 7. Mountain Meadows Memorial, Vail. Amid the quiet hills near Vail lies the Mountain Meadows Memorial, a peaceful site that hides one of the darkest tragedies in the American West. The wind that sweeps across the meadow carries whispers of grief older than the stones themselves. By day, it feels solemn and sacred. But when the sun dips below the horizon, the air changes heavy, mournful, and alive with something unseen. It was here, in 1857, that over 100 emigrants met their deaths in what history remembers as the Mountain Meadows Massacre. Entire families perished, men, women, and children, their cries silenced by betrayal and blood. Locals say the ground never forgot. Horses refuse to cross certain spots, and even birds grow quiet when night falls. Travelers who pass the site after dark have reported strange orbs of light floating above the grass. The sound of distant weeping and faint voices calling out for mercy carried on the wind. Some witnesses claim to have seen the ghostly figures of pioneers wandering through the meadow, pale, silent, and lost. Others tell of a woman dressed in pioneer garb, kneeling by the memorial stones, her head bowed in eternal grief. When approached, she fades like mist, leaving behind only the chilling sense of sorrow too deep for words. Today, the Mountain Meadows Memorial stands as a tribute to the innocent, but it's also a reminder that the earth remembers everything. And if you stand there long enough, under the cold desert moon, you might hear the faint echo of a wagon train and realize that the meadow is still haunted by the journey that never reached its end. 8. Cove Fort, Beaver, rising from the lonely Utah plains near Beaver. Cove Fort looks peaceful, its black volcanic stone walls sturdy against time. But behind those walls, the silence tells another story. Travelers say when night falls, the fort comes alive with echoes of the past, whispers carried through the corridors, footsteps crunching across the courtyard, and unseen hands brushing against the doors. Built in 1867 as a safe haven for weary travelers and mail carriers, Cove Fort was meant to offer protection from danger. Yet, over the years, it also became a place of fear. Families who lived there spoke of strange knocking sounds that came from the walls, lanterns that flickered on their own, and ghostly figures that appeared in the stables. One chilling legend tells of a traveler who arrived sick and never left his restless spirit, still said to pace the rooms, searching for help that never came. Visitors today often describe sudden cold spots, even on the hottest summer days. Some claim to hear a woman humming softly in the kitchen, though no one is there. Others have captured faint voices in recordings, whispers saying, "Don't stay." Tour guides admit that after sunset, the fort's cheerful daytime charm fades into something far more unsettling. Cove Fort stands as a monument to survival and faith, but some things inside seem unwilling to rest. So if you visit when the stars are out and the wind begins to howl through the old stone halls, listen closely. You might just hear the ghosts of those who built this refuge, still standing watch in the dark. The Lion House, Salt Lake City. In the heart of Salt Lake City stands the Lion House, elegant, historic, and quietly haunted. Built in 1856 for Brigham Young and his family, the home once echoed with laughter, children's footsteps, and the bustle of daily life. But long after the residents passed on, those sounds never stopped. Today, behind its cheerful white facade, whispers linger in the halls, and the air carries the weight of unseen eyes. Visitors describe the faint scent of old perfume drifting through empty rooms, or the rustle of skirts brushing against stair rails when no one is near. Staff have reported lights flicking on and off by themselves, rocking chairs moving gently in still air, and sudden cold spots that vanish the moment you turn toward them. The most unsettling stories, though, involve the upper floors, where voices of women are heard quietly singing hymns, and shadowy figures appear in mirrors before fading away. Some believe the spirits belong to the wives of Brigham Young, still tending to the home they once cherished. Others think they're the souls of servants bound by duty even beyond death, whatever the truth. Every creak of the floorboards and flicker of candlelight feels like a reminder that the Lion House still lives in two worlds, the past and the present. If you ever visit, listen closely when you walk the long, narrow halls. You may hear soft footsteps behind you, or feel the light brush of a hand at your shoulder. But don't turn around too quickly. The spirits of the Lion House don't like to be startled, and they're always watching. 10. Alta Club, Salt Lake City. In downtown Salt Lake City stands the Alta Club, a grand, private gentlemen's club that has whispered with secrets since 1883. By day, it glows with the charm of a bygone-era polished wood, soft chandeliers, and portraits of Utah's early elite. But when night falls, that elegance curdles into unease. The halls grow cold, the lights dim without reason, and the air fills with the faint scent of cigar smoke from cigars no one is smoking. The Alta Club was a gathering place for the city's most powerful men politicians, bankers, and businessmen who shaped Utah's early history. Some say their ambition never died, that their spirits still linger in the club's stately rooms, unwilling to surrender their dominion. Janitors have reported hearing footsteps echoing across empty floors and the low murmur of voices deep in conversation. Though the building is locked and deserted, one night, a guard swore he saw a man in a top hat standing by the grand staircase only for the figure to vanish when approached. Members who've stayed late describe flickering lights and the feeling of being watched. In the lounge, chairs scrape across the floor on their own, as if unseen gentlemen are still gathering for their nightly meetings. Paranormal investigators have recorded faint laughter, clinking glasses, and sudden drops in temperature near the old fireplace, the same spot where many deals were once made. Some call it residual energy, others call it haunting. But one thing is certain, the Alta Club refuses to rest quietly. So if you ever find yourself there after hours, and you hear the faint sound of a toast being made in an empty room, raise your glass, because the ghosts of the Alta Club just might be welcoming you to their eternal meeting. 11. Antelope Island, Salt Lake City. Surrounded by the still, silvery waters of the Great Salt Lake, Antelope Island looks peaceful, serene even. But when darkness falls and the wind sweeps across the salt flats, the island becomes something else entirely. Locals whisper that it's cursed ground, a place where the living and the dead cross paths in the shimmering haze of moonlight. In the 1800s, pioneers and ranchers settled here, drawn by its isolation. Yet the island's beauty hid tragedy. Storms came without warning, wagons vanished into the mudflats, and travelers disappeared without a trace. Some say their spirits still wander lost between land and lake. Hikers report seeing shadowy figures moving across the shoreline, their footsteps leaving no mark. Campers wake to the sound of voices whispering just beyond their tents, or the soft ringing of a distant bell, though there's no one else on the island. The Fielding Gar Ranch, one of Utah's oldest homesteads, is said to be the island's most haunted spot. Visitors have felt icy fingers touch their arms, doors slam shut on windless nights, and heard a woman's mournful cry drifting from the barn. Rangers speak of flickering lantern lights moving across the plains, as if someone, or something, is still tending to chores long after death. Even the animals seem to sense it. The island's bison grow restless under a full moon, their low bellows echoing across the water like a warning. Antelope Island is breathtaking by day, but at night, it belongs to the ghosts of the Great Salt Lake. So if you ever visit after sunset and the lake begins to shimmer under the moon, Remember, not every shadow you see out there is your own. "12. Moon Lake, Ducheln. Deep in the Uinta Mountains, hidden among pine forests and misty peaks, lies Moon Lake, a place of haunting beauty and chilling mystery. The water is unnaturally still, like glass, and when the moonlight touches its surface, strange things are said to stir beneath. Campers whisper that Moon Lake is cursed, that the calm hides something watching from below, something ancient and angry, long ago. A young girl is said to have vanished near the water's edge, never to be found. Since then, countless visitors have reported seeing her ghostly figure wandering the shoreline, pale, dripping, her eyes hollow and endless. She calls out for help, her voice echoing across the lake, but when anyone draws near, she disappears into the mist. Fishermen have told stories of ripples forming in perfectly still water, as if unseen hands reached up from the depths. At night, the air around Moon Lake turns unnaturally cold. Campers wake to the sound of footsteps circling their tents, soft sobs carried on the wind, and the feeling that someone or something is standing just beyond the firelight. Some claim to have seen faint blue lights hovering above the water, moving slowly, as though guiding lost souls back to shore. No one knows what truly haunts Moon Lake, the spirit of the lost girl, or something older that lurks beneath its dark surface. But those who've stayed till midnight all agree on one thing: when the moon is full and the lake turns silver, it feels as if the water itself is alive, waiting for another soul to take. "13. Winter Quarters, Carbon. Hidden deep within the hills of Carbon County lies Winter Quarters, once a thriving coal mining town. Now nothing more than ruins and restless memories. The wind that passes through the canyons carries with it the faint echo of screams and the clatter of mining carts long gone. For beneath this quiet place lies one of Utah's greatest tragedies and, some say, one of its most haunted. In 1900, a massive explosion tore through the Winter Quarters mine, killing over 200 miners in an instant. Fathers, sons, and brothers were buried beneath rock and flame, their lives snuffed out without warning. The blast was so violent that it was heard miles away, but what lingers now is silence. Too much silence. Visitors to the old site describe the feeling of being watched, as if hundreds of unseen eyes still peer from the shadows, late at night. People hear the rhythmic sound of picks striking stone, and the faint rumble of mine carts rolling over tracks that no longer exist. Some have seen ghostly figures emerging from the darkness, faces covered in soot, eyes glowing faintly like embers. Others speak of cold gusts rising from the ground, carrying whispers that sound eerily like names being called. Even the nearby cemetery feels alive. Candles flicker on graves no one tends, and shadows move where there should be none. Locals say the spirits of the miners never left. They're still searching for daylight, for a way out that never came. Today, Winter Quarters stands as a memorial to the lost, but the ground itself remembers. So if you stand there at dusk and the air grows still, listen closely. You might just hear the echo of a pick striking coal, a ghostly reminder that some men are still working, long after the mine has closed. "14. Home of Truth, San Juan County. Deep in the desolate desert of San Juan County lies the ruins of a failed utopia, the Home of Truth. What began in the 1930s as a spiritual commune has become one of Utah's strangest and most haunted legends. The sun-bleached remains of the settlement still stand against the red earth, silent and watchful. Yet those who dare to enter say the silence there feels wrong. It hums. It listens. The colony was founded by a woman named Marie Ogden, who claimed she could speak with the dead and promised her followers eternal life. They built 3 concentric circles of houses, outer, middle, and inner, meant to reflect their spiritual purity. But as time passed, paranoia took root. Food ran short, tempers flared, and faith twisted into obsession. Then came the death of a woman one Marie claimed could be resurrected. Her body was kept in a back room for weeks as her followers waited for a miracle that never came. After the commune collapsed, the desert reclaimed it, but not entirely. Travelers still report flickering lights from the ruins at night, strange chanting carried on the wind, and the smell of burning sage from nowhere. Paranormal investigators have captured ghostly voices on tape, one whispering, "She's not gone." Some who've entered the inner portal, the heart of the old settlement, describe feeling violently ill, as if something unseen is pushing them away. The home of truth may be nothing more than dust and rubble now, but its energy endures heavy, watching, waiting. If you ever visit, tread carefully around the circle, because some say the ritual never truly ended, and Marie's promise still echoes in the desert. Death is only the beginning. "15. Fear Factory, Salt Lake City." At the edge of Salt Lake City stands an enormous brick building with a past soaked in death, the Fear Factory. Once an active cement plant, it earned its name long before it became a haunted attraction. Inside those crumbling walls, tragedy piled upon tragedy crushed workers, deadly falls, and mysterious accidents that left the factory silent, but never empty. Locals say it was cursed, that the machinery demanded sacrifice, and the screams of the dead still echo between the iron beams. When the factory reopened as a haunted house, workers began to experience things they couldn't explain. Tools vanished, shadows moved across the walls, and the unmistakable sound of chains dragging echoed through the corridors after everyone had gone home. Security cameras caught flickering shapes, human silhouettes that appeared in locked rooms. One night, a technician heard a voice whisper directly into his ear, "Get out." He was alone. Visitors who come for the thrill often leave pale and shaken, insisting what they felt inside wasn't part of any performance. Cold air grips them suddenly. Lights flicker violently, and whispers rise from the depths of the old elevator shafts, where several men once fell to their deaths. Some claim to have seen a figure in a hard hat, standing motionless on the catwalk above, watching, only to vanish when they look twice. The owners call it the most haunted building in Utah, and perhaps they're right. Because when the crowds leave and the laughter fades, the Fear Factory goes quiet again, waiting for the next curious soul to step inside. And if you do, remember the screams you hear might not all be for show. Utah's haunted history runs deeper than the shadows we've explored tonight. But these 15 places are only the beginning. Every corner of this state hides another story, another spirit waiting to be heard. So, if you think you're brave enough for more, don't stop here. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and join us next time as we uncover even darker secrets from ghost towns lost in time, to places where the dead still whisper your name. Because the night in Utah, it never truly ends.